Today's video is, well, let's just say it's a salvage operation. I got some nail polish on one of my favourite tops. So what did I do? I put acetone on it, thinking that would dissolve the nail polish. All it did was make it look even worse. So I had an idea that I would use this black lace fabric. I had a route about in my stash and found this. So I'm going to try cutting out some of these lace motifs and stitching them over the top of the stain, hoping it disguises it. So let's see how that goes. So I've cut out some motifs. I had two different kinds of lace, so I've cut large and small motifs. The large one I've placed over the stain. I've used the more closed-in section of the lace, so that covers that quite well. And I've used some smaller sort of little stems and buds to give quite a more like an organic look to it. So I've tried to avoid having it too symmetrical. So it looks like there's little stems and leaves spreading out from the central flower. So I've pinned it in place. Now, because this is quite a lightweight jersey knit cotton, I think when I'm stitching it on, it could tend to bunch up. So I would generally use something like this embroidery stabiliser. This is the wash away film, it's dissolvable. So I would tend to use that over to hold everything in place. Now, because this is a bit old and it's gone milky, it's usually completely clear, I'm going to pop it underneath. Or I could have popped it under the lace, I suppose, but put it underneath and just pin it on around the fabric to stabilise the area as I'm stitching, and it will wash away. So I have my design pinned onto the garment. I've got my embroidery stabiliser pinned on underneath. I've removed the end of the accessories box of my machine, so I've got my free arm available. So that's easier, that I can slide the rest of the garment underneath and keep it out of the way. Now I'm going to be using free motion embroidery. I think because it's a very organic shape, it's going to let me work around the shape a lot easier. But if you don't know how to do free motion, you could just use a very fine zigzag stitch, very small stitch. So set your width and length to quite a small number and just stitch around the edge using zigzag. Or you could look for my video called Get Started in Free Motion Embroidery. So here I go. I've got my open toe foot, which may not be the best decision since I've got lots of open bits. These open toe feet can sometimes get caught on loopy things, but it is my favourite foot for doing free motion. So I'm going to go round the outside just with a straight stitch to secure the pieces. Then I may go round again, possibly with a small zigzag to stop the edges fraying. So checking I've got my pressure foot down. I'll remove the pins as I go. So I'm going around almost actually like a zigzag and moving over onto the edge of the lace, then back onto the edge of the garment. So I'm catching in underneath. As well, so I'm actually overlapping the edge of the lace. I'm going to work my way round all of these motifs. So I've been round the edge twice with my free motion style very small zigzag. I'm quite happy with that. I think I may add perhaps another one of these motifs here, just to make it look a little bit more asymmetric and organic. So I've done a little bit more work on my top. I've added in another stem and some leaves. I've also cut out 2 more pieces of lace. I sandwiched each piece between 2 layers of dissolvable film, so that enabled me to do a fine zigzag around the edge just to stabilise the cut edge. So I've done that for each piece separately, and then stitched them on to add a 3-dimensional quality, and I'm calling that done. Quite happy I've managed to save this top from the bin.